So she gave me. I'm trying. I'm having a difficult time wrapping explanation? The profundity of that statement.
That doesn't seem like a place I'd want to sit my feathery butt on. I don't know about you guys. Do I focus on renovating the barn, or do I just give up on it? First order of business is checking my new microphone. It's a windy day. I've been having troubles with my phone. I record this on my phone. It's led to a lot of takes from recording that I've just needed to delete because there's been no audio that's picked up. So this is going to test the audio. I think one way I can double check it is walk away and see if you guys can hear me from back here. The hope is that you can. This might lead to a new era in recording for me. I did also include this little wind muff, I don't know what you call it, to hopefully block out the sound of the wind because it's a very windy day. So let's, you know what, it might be easier to put it on my hat. Look at King Lenny. What a beautiful bird. What a beaut. And then Laverne soaking in some sun. You might be wondering why I've got them in this A-frame when they should be out there roaming around, getting a sense of the land. I'd like to, so they just got here a few days ago, and I'd like to quarantine them for just a little bit longer. And the other thing I'd like to do is clip Laverne's wings. Otherwise she will fly all over the place. So I think I'm going to do, I'm filming this on Thursday. I'd like to set Monday or Tuesday as their release date. They're safe in here, they're good, they're a little cooped up, obviously, but they will be tasting the fresh greens out there in the pasture here soon enough, just a few more days. I'm not too worried about the chickens, hey guys, beating them up. They're not going to. The chickens aren't a threat to them, but it's just I want to limit fights, and so that's why I quarantine them. And so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to just give them a few more days. In the meantime, they've got food, they've got water, they've got sun, they've got fresh hay and straw. A few more days, King Lenny, Queen Laverne, just a few more days, and then you're out there with the rest. Look at his beard. Can you see that? It's beautiful. So there's a lot of stuff I need to take on in the next few weeks. I did get that part-time job, by the way, which I'll probably be working Tuesdays and Thursdays, which will give me some other time to take on projects, but my time is a little bit more limited. That means I need to prioritize things. Incubation, getting a brooder set up in the barn, getting the garden ready. Those are some projects that come to mind that are high priority. And you'd think that this shouldn't be the top of my list, but it is. I need to get this thing clean, and I need to get the chickens to stop from roosting over on top. You guys, if you've watched the channel for a few episodes, you know we've implemented this wire system, but the chickens are so persistent and bullheaded that they'll actually sit on top of that wire and balance on it at night. It can't be comfortable. They'll fall off a lot, but they insist on balancing on that. And so you'll have 5 or 6 chickens that continue to roost up here at night and poop on this. So I did get some spikes, and I'm going to try and set those spikes up now. There's a couple of different methods of application. You can screw them in with sheet metal screw, or you can use zip ties. I'm going to start with zip ties. I think that'll hold them firm, because I'd like to avoid screwing into the sheet metal and giving yet another opening for moisture to get through to the wood inside. So I'm going to start with zip ties. And maybe if that isn't good for me, then I'll find some sort of cement or something that I can use to apply them. But that should hopefully keep the chickens from roosting up there. And so where are the chickens going to roost? Well, there's a couple of different places that they can roost. Obviously within this coop right here, that bar that you see right there, I'd like them to start roosting up there. And I think I'm actually going to build out a staggered roosting ladder. It's hard to describe, but a staggered roosting ladder that will go down. That'll give all the different birds here, turkeys and chickens, different places where they can perch. So this may seem like a minor task to you guys, but boy, it's bugged me so much just looking at that. I'm going to put the spikes up first, and then I'm going to wait till the turkeys are out of the A-frame before I blast this thing with water and clean it off. I don't want to freak them out. That would be very loud. So spikes first. When I do release them in a few days, then I come at this and clean it. And hopefully I'll never, ever have to deal with it ever again. Okay, here's the spikes. Pretty straightforward. work my way through these. A lot of these bars. That's going to take me a few minutes to do this, but hopefully it'll be easy. Yeah, that's easy. Let's try a test one real quick just to see if the zip tie will work or if I'm going to have to do another method. Like I said, I'd really prefer to avoid using the screws and that sheet metal if at all possible. I know I probably look absurd with this thing, but the wind is kicking right now, and hopefully, I mean, it's blowing through the breezeway. Hopefully you don't hear it that much. Hopefully it's very minimal because I've got this little dumb muff on my head, but I'm happy. It's doing its job, hopefully. If you can hear this, then that's all I care about. Let me finish putting these on. Let's get a couple of these. This looks quite menacing, doesn't it? That doesn't seem like a place I'd want to sit my feathery butt on. I don't know about you guys. There we go. If it works like I think it'll work, then it's worth it. You know, sometimes people ask me, let's do that. They always come in from that side, so let's do that. And I don't even need to bother cutting that because that's another visual thing to scare the birds off. So I do one, that's pretty tight, and then I'll do the other side. So people sometimes ask me if I've ever been approached by companies wanting to sponsor me on YouTube, like home and garden companies or, you know, fencing or agriculture companies. And the answer is yes, I have, a few times. I'm not a big enough channel to really get that much interest, but there have been a few different companies that have reached out to me. Nothing that I've been terribly excited about and haven't really followed up on. So this is my call out to sponsors. If you are a zip tie manufacturer and you want somebody that will go to bat for you and hawk your products, shout your name from the mountaintops, sing hosannas to your product, then I'm your guy. Let's talk. I'll be a zip tie salesman. You know, if the YouTube thing, these other things don't work out, then I'll just sell zip ties. All right, that's pretty solid. It could be a little bit tighter. So it's pretty solid. It's moving a little bit, but it'll stay in place for when the chickens come up here. I'd like to do a couple more through there, and I'm not gonna show you guys the whole process, but I want you to get a sense of what I'm taking on and just how important it is for me to get these chickens off of this darn A-frame, because boy, oh boy, that's ugly. It's gross. I don't want the turkeys to be pooped on. So I'm gonna finish this today, and hopefully I'll give you a quick update to see what it looks like when I'm done. You're building a cabinet.
Right, yep.
And you're reading through the instructions, and you noticed a philosophical conundrum in these.
Is it existential issue? I don't know.
I'm very curious what this says.
Well, normally, I think like most people, you don't read the front page of the safeguards, warnings.
You just gloss over it.
But I happen to come across this. For cleaning and maintenance of this cabinet, it says, treat surface with care. That makes sense. Surface is resistant to scratches, but is not scratch resistant. I'm trying. I'm having a difficult time wrapping the profundity of that statement.
It's something that's resistant to scratches, but it's not. That there's some mental calculus involved. We're going to think on it, folks. And if we come up with an answer,
we'll be sure to pass it along.
All right, guys, on second thought, I changed my mind. I was up there wiggling it around. It just wasn't solid with the zip ties. As much as I love zip ties, it just wasn't doing it. So, yes, I'm introducing a potential spot for moisture to get in, but these are weather sealed. They are meant to be used outdoors, these sheet metal screws. They're meant for roofs. So, you know what? At the end of the day, this is a lot more solid. I double up right here to save a screw when I meet the strips up. So I'm just going to screw these things on. It's a lot more solid that way.
It's up here. It was a pain in the butt to get this thing installed. And it's not the most beautiful thing to see. It is up here. The chickens will not be roosting on here tonight. I can guarantee it. I really thought the wire would work, which I kept the wire up, by the way, just to make things even trickier, but it's not gonna happen. There's not gonna be any roosting up here tonight, or ever. I'm gonna give the turkeys 3 or 4 more days in here. I let them out, then I clean this thing. And then I don't ever need to clean it again. Such a pain, man.
So, here's the incubator. It's called the Cabonics, and this was one that Katie Kramer recommended to me. I think it was the first incubator that the Kramers used for their operation, and it's going to be ours as well. And there's 12. Henry's quite interested in it. There's 12 different slots for eggs. I had originally said that I wanted to have our first, you hear him, egg. He hasn't quite gotten the G's down, but give it some time because he will. Whenever he sees eggs, he goes, "Hey!" So initially I said I was going to do turkeys for my first batch. Yeah, that's where the babies will go. But then I realized you need more than 2 turkeys because you want to put the eggs in at a max of 7 days after they've hatched, and she's laying or she's putting out 2 eggs a week maybe. So there's no way we'd have a there's no way that we'd have enough eggs to start a full run. So I need to get more turkeys if I'm going to do a turkey breeding program. So I figured, you know what? The first incubation run is going to be chickens. And I was out at the Kramers yesterday. I was helping them process some pigs. And Katie walked me around and graciously gave me a starter incubation run. And Bub Henry's gonna watch this years later and be like, I remember this exact day when we did the incubation because that's when I found Dad's hair so fascinating. So she gave me an incubation run of various chicken breeds that they have at the Kramer Life. And so I'm excited because that's gonna be our very first run. And we have, what do we have? We've got two surprise birds. We have 2 olive eggers. We have 2 cream leg bars.
We got 1 monkey.
We have 1 monkey. That's the newest critter on the homestead. We have 2 barnyard mixes with the salmon Favorel rooster father. Oh man, he was a beautiful bird. We got 2 dark Brahmas and 2 Americanas, which I love. So I was gonna have Bub help me put the eggs in here, but I'm gonna take care of that because I don't want to risk these. But he was at least present for the inauguration of the incubation ceremony. I found a really nice place in the back office back there that's nice and warm and high, so he can't get to it. And we are gonna fill this up with water and get it running today. And the timer will start 21 days before these things hatch out and we get our first official hatches on the Yosted. I'm very excited. I don't know about you, Bubba. What do you? Yes, he's very excited. It's like a button, isn't it? And then put the top on, give the rotator a test. Egg, yeah. Okay, we filled it up with water. We got all the eggs. We tested the turner. Now I'm going to set my calendar for 21, or set my reminder app for 21 days from now, and they should start popping out. now that the incubator is going live, or has gone live, and the countdown is on, 21 days, one of my first priorities is to get the brooder room ready. This is the brooder room. This is one of the main stalls that we use in the barn, and it's kind of a mess right now. When we bought this homestead, it was really messy. It was covered in industrial junk. It was used as storage, and so there's a lot of old storage that I needed to move out. Right now, this is not suitable as a brooder room. When the first round of chickens hatch in early March, it will still be quite cold in here. Now, granted, I'll have that stock tank that I pulled up to use as my brooder, and I've used that in years past as my brooder. I have my lid, which I'll show you what my lid looks like for my brooder. This thing, you'll see it in action in a few weeks, but this folds over, and I can put cinder blocks or bricks on either end to give it weight and keep it down so that pests don't open up and get to the chicks. There's that, and then there's also the heat lamp, which I have. It has a new bulb in it. I need to clean this room out. This is a longer term issue, and it gives me some consternation. This barn is old, and I love this barn. I love the look of it. I love how historically significant this barn is. Its bones are in good shape, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done for it if I want to use it long term and I don't decide to build like another pole barn or something. That's a long-term decision I'll need to get to. The roofs need to be rebuilt. As you can see down here, a lot of the wood is in bad shape. It needs to be repaired. Again, a very long-term decision that I'll need to make. But right now, where I'm sitting at in mid-February, with chicks on the way, I need to think very short term, and I need to prepare this room for those chicks. So what I'll plan to do, probably in the next week, is do what I did in the stall that's next to us, which I used for the piglets a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And that's layer the bottom areas where there's gaps in the wood. Get some sheet metal paneling on here just to provide a little bit of a windbreak and help discourage critters from coming in here. I may finish out. You can see the sheetrock is torn away at the back side of the stairs here. I may rip that off and start a new piece of sheetrock drywall there, or just use some wood there to side it out. But I need to encapsulate this area better. So what that will involve, hopefully over the next week or so, is removing everything that's in here, everything that's in this barn stall, maybe except for some of the stuff on the wall, and cleaning it out, getting all the junk off the ground, maybe putting mulch down on the ground, putting sheet metal on the walls, just on the bottom, and then preparing the brooder in here, and then putting everything back in. That's going to be my short-term project over the next week or so. So by the time the chickens come, by the time the chicks hatch and they're ready to go to be put into the brooder, I'll probably keep them inside. We'll see how they do for maybe a week or two. We'll see how the weather is. But a week or two out, I'll have them in here with the heat lamp. And another option that I have, I don't have it handy, I think it's in the other shed, is a heating panel, which a lot of people have recommended as a way to warm up chicks, keep them warm, without the danger that a heat lamp brings. So those are all things to think about. Also, the stall next door, I'll give you a peek inside. You probably can't see much. This is where I kept our piglet friends, Frank and Beans, a few years ago when we got them. And let's just say it right now, there's a likelihood that we'll be getting pigs here soon, kunikunis to be specific, either in a few months or in the fall. I'm talking to somebody that a lot of you folks know that may or may not, we may work on getting some pigs from them. So that's where the pig shelter comes into place, which I have over here. And that's something I'll use. I'll finish this up for the kunikunis once they come, which again, it might be a few months from now, it might be the fall. We'll see, and there's a big might behind it. There's a lot of factors we can't control when it comes to piglets, but I think we're pretty excited about the prospect of kunikunis. Again, the problems with this barn are such that I need to ask myself long term, do I focus on renovating the barn or do I just give up on it? And that's a tough decision to make because this is a beautiful old barn that I believe was built in the 40s. One other option, it's time to play if I had $100 million. If I had $100 million and I didn't need to worry about money at all, what would I do on the homestead? One of the first things I'd do probably is take down this old garden shed. Just flatten this area right here and put up a nice new barn. Maybe a nice new wood barn, like Amish built or something. And would I get rid of this barn? No, I'd keep it. I'd fix it up a little bit, but I'd keep it just for storage. That's it. Maybe I'd just store hay in here. Maybe I'd put some more things in the barn stalls, but I wouldn't get rid of it. It's a pretty old barn. There's just a lot of issues with it for long-term use. Now, those of you that know me know I do not have $100 million. However, those are some things to think about long-term and the investments we make on the homestead. Right now, I need to make the barn work for me in its own condition. So the tweaks that I make to it, the changes that I make to it in the next few weeks to make it habitable for the chicks and for eventually pigs as well, those are fixes that I can handle on my own. So those are the things I'll take on. There's those peepers again. I don't know if you can hear them with my little thing here, but I can't get enough of that sound. So, long story short, everyone, there's long-term things on my mind. Barn, different types of livestock we want to take on, but short-term, there's only a few things that are really pressing, and that's preparing for these chicks, it's getting the seed starts ready, and that's preparing for maybe piglets in the next few months. So I need to keep my focus there. Also, that part-time job should be starting here within a few weeks, which will keep me occupied for 2 days or so out of the week, which is good. That is something we needed, and that will still allow me to continue with these projects. So lots to keep me busy, and hopefully lots to keep you guys watching as you follow along with our journey. So thanks for hanging out with us, and until we see you again next time, remember, as always, slowly, slowly.